Good morning, and happy Tuesday. Welcome to the Rick Helps Real Estate live stream this morning, every morning at 8:30, Monday through Thursday, except on Friday when I do my lending update with Cardboard Pat. He's not going to be here this Friday, so I got to figure that one out. But these numbers are all over the map, depending on whether you're looking at national news, local news, or simply just by price point. So it's going to be interesting. We're going to take a little deep dive into that this morning, but we have 7,000 listings on the market this morning, which is about 300 higher than last week. And here's what the 7-day moving average looks like. You can see the blue line spiked up a little bit. That's the number of listings that we have. And look at that yellow line in the past few days, 4 days, just staying right there. And so if I move the red line up and show you how it compares to the rest of the year since January, you can see that we've had periods here where sales were way up, and then this is July, this is Memorial Day, so May was like the strongest. But the biggest gap, the problem that we were having in supply was right in here, which is April and May, and that explains why prices shot up as fast as they did. And so it's changing a little bit. So we're looking at some stuff here and some news, and then I thought, well, let me see what's going on by price point. So I'm looking here and it says home sales rise as the limited number of properties on the market improve, and this is Realtor.com, and they're looking at July numbers. So as I look at this, it says that I believe we went up like 3%. And it says what they're saying, although housing is expected to remain sturdy for some time, several key gauges are cooling as the pandemic-induced buying frenzy eases and elevated prices cut into affordability, particularly for first-time home buyers. So that's kind of a well, duh, right? Duh. Then we look at this, existing home sales back on rise as inventories improve. Interesting, existing home sales posted the second consecutive increase in July after breaking out of a slump in June that had endured for 4 months. The National Association of Realtors said sales of pre-owned single-family houses, townhomes, condominiums, and cooperative apartments rose to a seasonally adjusted annual rate of $5.9 million. Now, they mentioned condos there, and it kind of reminded me of something that I was going to show you yesterday. I don't want to show you the actual unit or the listing because I don't want to call out anybody or disparage the listing. But one of the things that you need to look at on condominiums is there a possibility of a special assessment? Now, I just kind of saved this down in an Excel spreadsheet. I just copied what they had in there. Check this out right here. It says, and you're going to have a hard time reading this, so I'm just going to read it to you. Assessment has been passed for the plumbing project. First installment of $2,500 is due September 1st. Then another $2,500 on October 1st, and the final due on December 1st. How would you like to buy that place? So you buy it, and you've got a $2,500 payment 3 months in a row so they can improve their plumbing. That's a very poorly budgeted HOA, if you ask me. And my jaw dropped when I saw that. I couldn't believe it. So you have to be very careful when you're going into some condominiums. So you got to spend some time, the lenders will look at their books and make sure that they're solid and that they have enough reserves. If they don't, it won't be what's called a warrantable condo, so they won't finance it. But you get situations like this that come up. That's why they do so much due diligence on condos. Here it says from KTR in Arizona and Metro Phoenix, houses on the market rose 1.6% from June, however, remains 18.8% down compared to last July. With more inventory expected to appear on the market over the next few months, buyers might be pleased to hear the share of houses listed with a price cut was up 10%. Now, we saw that yesterday. Our price cuts are running about 1,700 and 1,775, I think it was. So price cuts are running about 10%. Doesn't mean that the price of homes is coming down. It means the lofty expectations have to be met. Says here, Metro Phoenix home values up nearly 30% over the past year. And then it goes on to say, again, that we're cooling. So let's look at some of the data here. Here's the Cromford report, and it says the cooling trend is definitely slowing down, and we now have another town showing a positive change in the Cromford Market Index over the past month, Fountain Hills. So Fountain Hills has a green line here, which means it's now more in favor of sellers by about 9%. The Northeast Valley is clearly outperforming the rest of the valley, with inventory staying lower and improving demand trends. Paradise Valley also has a stable low inventory, but demand there has weakened over the past month. It follows up and says here, if the overall CMI, Cromford Market Index, stabilizes above 300, it means that prices still have upward momentum that will probably manifest during the fourth quarter after a relatively quiet third quarter. Yo-yo market possibly, huh? So here's what it looks like. We start getting in and drilling in by price point. Terry has a comment here. One agent told me the market started out slow this month, then it tapered off after that. You know, Terry, I don't know. It depends on the prices. It's crazy. Look at this. This is listings under contract compared weekly. You can see it's showing 11,197, and that's all price ranges. But check this out. If you drill in and you say, well, what's going on in the 300 to 400,000 range? And this is where the iBuyers are concentrating. Open Door, Zillow, OfferPad. And we are up to 2020 levels right there with 3,259. So if we go to 400 to 500,000, let's click that little box here. Look at that. We are way above 2020 levels of listings under contract in that price range, and above 2019. So something's going on in that 400 to 500,000 range. And as we saw the other day, Open Door and Zillow just went in like crazy with an average of 425,000 and purchased a bunch of homes. And I believe that's probably the big reason for this spike. Look at that 1, 2, 3 weeks, and it just spiked up. That is a contributor, because you've got 900 homes that went under contract in 1 month, and you're showing a price point here of 400 to 500,000, which is the sandboxes they're playing in. And 2,264 went under contract. That can have an impact. So if you look at the $500,000 to $600,000 range, same thing. Boom, 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 went up. And you get over 600 to 800,000. It's always kind of fun to drill down a little bit by price point and see what's going on. Those went under contract considerably, from a low of 1,061 to 1,167. I can't talk. That's not significant. That's a small little bump. You get up over 1 million here, and it probably slows down a little bit because it's summertime. So it has gone up in week 34, week 33, and week 32. Something's going on that changes. But when you look at the total data, all of it, we have gone up, but not to the levels of 2020 in every price point. So yesterday, somebody said, what's going on in Chandler? I hear it's still a bidding war. And we looked up Chandler and saw that their inventory levels between 300,000 and 400,000 are almost non-existent, somewhere in the 30s. So that's going to be bidding wars. That's going to be waiving the appraisal contingency in that price range in Chandler. In other parts of the valley, not so much. The city of Surprise has seen some price increases and some inventory dwindle, where just a few months ago, that wasn't a bad place to be looking for a home because it wasn't quite that aggressive. Then we also have real estate booming in the Rim country, which if you're from the Phoenix area, you know that that's up in the Payson, Show Low, Pine Top area. Real estate continues to boom, and Rim country real estate remains pedal to the metal while the rest of the state and nation taps the brakes. They're not tapping the brake on all price points, but they are in some. According to MLS data on the local market, Rim County homes have gone from remaining more than 100 days on the market down to 70. Home prices have increased by 28% to an average of $357,000. So if you're looking for a cabin up in the mountains, you're going to find it a little bit aggressive up there. It is kind of flying off the shelf. Number of price changes per week. They dipped down a little bit. We had a price cut here of 995 on July 25th, and now they're down to 839. Comparatively, looking at from February, we're still up almost 100%. So price cuts are still starting to be a factor in the real estate market here in Phoenix. And you have to price right or it's going to sit there. Now, tracking days on market is a difficult number to look at because days on market, there's a couple of them. Agent days on market and then actual days on market. Days on market usually doesn't shrink that much because you might have it listed for an hour and gets under contract, but it still takes 30 days to close. So they're going to call that 30 days on market. Agent on market would show up as 1 day. So you have to really kind of watch those numbers a little bit. Bryce says, what are Tucson's numbers out of curiosity? Bryce, I don't have access to Tucson's database, but I have seen some numbers that show that it mirrors what's going on here in the Phoenix area. It's not radically different, but I wish I had access to that. I would have to join the Tucson Association, and I never get down there to sell homes, so I apologize. I wish I had those numbers for you. The other thing that I like to look at that I touched on the other day was the closings over list price, and that's something that we're not going to see change until next month. So right now we're still seeing 53% of homes are going over their asking price with an average here of there's 10,000, 15,000, 15, 15, 17.5, and this is July data. It goes back 30 days. Now, we thought we were seeing a slowing just a couple weeks ago, if not even last week. And now this week, we're not seeing a slowing. So maybe that isn't going to change much as we start looking forward. This is a hard market to follow and predict. You can't take it as one big slice of the pie. You have to get down to price point. So whatever price point you're shopping in, you've got to dive into the data and see what's going on so that you know what to be prepared for when you're going out there to buy that home. So you got to know exactly whether or not it's a bidding war. Is it kind of quiet? There's showings over 600,000 are really kind of iffy right now. You might get 1 or 2 a week, depending on where you're priced. And we used to get 5 or 6 a day. Jerry says this data is very interesting to see. It proves that not only is real estate action local, it's also price points specific. Absolutely, Jerry. It's local by neighborhood and price point. So you get down to Chandler where the Intel plant is growing, and we've got all these other jobs going on, and you're trying to get an entry-level home between $300,000 and $400,000. It's a dogfight. In fact, there's hardly anything down there in that area that you can find. I know that in an area of Ocotillo that I followed, let's see if I can pull it up here. I'm going to show you. I have, let's see, I'll do a save search. They used to have like 85 homes for sale on any given day. And now we have 15. There was a period where there were only 5 homes. Unbelievable. But look, the lowest priced home is $490. The next one's $499. So you can't even play between $300,000 and $400,000. So this is a showing request for a listing. So that's how it works. You just get interrupted all day. Here's one for $599. They had to reduce the price. $544. They reduced the price. Here's one, $780. They reduced the price. So they're starting to feel it down there a little bit, aren't they? Price reductions are all over the place. So look around your neighborhood, figure out what's going on. Bryce says, with low interest rate, is it still better to close at the end of the month, especially if the seller covers the closing costs? That depends. You're going to have a hard time finding a seller covering the closing costs, though. Sales haven't increased enough to start seeing concessions by sellers. So that's a tough one. Although If you use me as a buying agent, I do credit YouTube subscribers $800 on closing costs for anything over $400,000. So something to consider. Although I had one close last week, and somehow in our accounting department at EXP, they left that out of the settlement sheet. So I had to cut a check yesterday, which I'm happy to do, but they missed it. So I don't know why they missed it. But hey, tune in tomorrow. We're going to take another look at the market, see what's going on. The Federal Reserve meets and starts discussing stuff on Friday. And are we going to have any taper talk? Well, they're probably going to hint at it. And if they do, the Fed has to be very careful. If they get any indication that they're going to start pulling back on their purchases of mortgage-backed securities, you're going to see interest rates start going up. So they want to gently talk about that, because they did that one year and it was nicknamed a taper tantrum. People had a fit, rates went up like crazy, and Chairman Powell goes, ooh, that wasn't a good idea. I think I'll go back and start purchasing them again. So everybody take on the day. Have a super Tuesday. See you tomorrow morning.